All right. Hey, listen, welcome. This is the first virtual session you're having with Mr. Sandoval. And in attendance today, I have actually all my 4 kids. So we have Celeste, raise your hand. Alan, Marcus, raise your hand. And Max. All right, good. Okay. Hey, listen, let's go ahead and start off because since we're starting a brand new school year, one of the benefits you're going to have is really to get to know me. Oh, so let me go ahead. Oh, hold on. So let's go. Let me go back over here. All right, good. All right, hey, listen, let me go ahead and share my screen. And okay, here is where I'm sharing. Okay, good. All right, everybody's ready to see this? Can everybody see the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, excellent. Okay, now the reason why, or let me tell you, the reason why I have all my actually 4 kids that you have in front of you, and the reason why they're doing this with me is because I'm more about you learning interactively. Okay, so if you were in an actual class with me, it wouldn't be me mostly doing most of the talking. I'll just be directing. You know, you got to discover that you have the greatest benefit when you're involved in the learning process. So that's one of the reasons why I have my kids here, because with this, I'm going to have more people involved. Okay, so like Celeste, why don't you go ahead and read the first slide? What does the first slide say?
Meet Mr. Sandoval, all about your new teacher.
Exactly. All right, excellent. Okay, Marcus.
Yes.
Okay, you're up. Okay, so now read the next slide. What does the next slide say?
I'm excited to be your teacher. I have been teaching for 11 years. All 11 years I've been at Madison, and my dad has a bachelor's degree in mathematics education.
All right, excellent. Maximus, read the next slide.
I love teachers because it is one of the most rewarding jobs in the world. You are in this special age group in where the things I say and do can have a big impact for the rest of your lives. There's nothing better than when I see you grow and become a better person.
Yes, and that is some of the reasons why I love teaching and why I continue in this profession. So with that, let's go ahead and do this. Now, there is something famous when you're in my classes, you're going to discover, and this happens in life. And this is one of the things I want to make sure that you understand that doesn't really happen with me. And this is the next thing. So Celeste, why don't you go ahead and read this slide? What does this slide say?
If you do right, no one remembers. If you do wrong, no one forgets.
Okay, but with one exception. What do you see, Marcus, from this slide that you could share with the class?
Mr. Sandoval remembers. Mr.
Yeah,
Sandoval.
so if you do right, I'll remember. Marcus, what is the next part? What does it say? If you do wrong?
You'll forget.
I'll forget. Exactly.
Forget.
Yes, exactly. So you got to realize that in life, you're going to experience this. It's part of living. But in my aspect and what I try to do is I try to live in this way with you. Okay. Now, here you go. All right. So, Max, tell us a little bit about these pictures. I want you to read what it says in the next slide.
Well, there's my family. We have a vacation.
Yeah, we're on vacation in some of these parts, but why don't you read what the bullets say?
Married 18 years.
Yes. And then what else?
I have 4 kids.
Well, you know, but I do, right? Your dad has 4 kids. And what ages are you?
16, then one's 14, one's 11, then one's 9.
Exactly. Yeah. So that kind of shows you some things to do with me, right? And then, all right, Celeste, why don't you talk about some of these hobbies and interests of mine? What did you notice?
That you like bike riding. You do.
Yes.
You're into competition.
Mm-hmm.
Triathlons.
Yeah,
You
triathlons.
We have gone on vacations, and you love to spend time with us.
Yes. Yeah. And that's my absolute passion in some aspects. You know, I love doing these things and they help me, right? Okay. So let's talk about Marcus. Why don't you go ahead and read to the class some of the goals I have for you this year?
So some of my dad's goals for you this year is, do you want me to read the quote?
Yes, read the quote.
Okay. The quote says, education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think.
Now, why would I say this, Marcus?
Why would you say this?
Yes. Yeah. Why would I say this?
Well, because you don't want your students just to be a sponge and soak up information. and forget it the moment you don't need it. You want them to keep on learning and keep on pursuing new things, to keep on studying.
Yeah, yeah, and you're right, and I agree, I get you exactly what you're talking about. Now, I would love if they actually take everything as a sponge, though. Don't tell me I just don't want that. I would love if they learn everything as a sponge and keep the most important information. But let me ask you this: anything else that anybody could think about this quote that is important?
Ooh.
Give me like 2 days.
Give you 2 days?
Okay, so something about school that most people forget is that they think school is just about teaching you things, but it's actually teaching you how to learn.
Yeah, well, I have to think more of anything. Hey, listen, if I could find out a fact from Google, tell me something, like would I ask you, would I rely on you more for a fact than Google?
Well, probably not.
No, right? Because I could look at Google and get that fact, right? But tell me something that you could do that Google can't.
I can narrow down the search bar. I could tell you what to search for instead of, searching the whole thing.
Oh yeah, that's true, right? That's exactly the thing you're talking about, is that you are given the process that you could think. Okay, so some of the things you're going to learn about, it's not so much because I want you to learn the fact of it. It's really to train your mind to think. Because one of the benefits that you have is that you have the power to think. And as a result, you're able to come up with solutions, see things, and be able to come up with new ways how to solve problems. So that's the idea behind education. It's not, I could get all the facts from Google. I don't need you. But one thing that I cannot get from Google, thinking. That's why education is so important. Now let's go ahead and now in my normal class, so if we ever get to see each other face to face, these would be my next slide would be my expectations and they're pretty simple, it's like straightforward stuff, right? And then so Maximus, why don't you lead us off? What does this say in the next thing?
Be responsible, be respectful, be safe.
Well, okay, let's start in order though. So just start on top of my basically things I'm looking for you to do is what?
Be safe.
Be safe, right? Yeah, very important, right? And what else? Be respectful, right?
Be responsible.
Be responsible, right? And they're very simple rules. They're things that, that you learn that, when you got your 5 fingers are for you to touch only, not to touch other people. That's part of being safe and being respectful. And then being responsible is like doing the stuff that you got to do. All right. So with that, okay, now in our, this is the way I think about most of your classes, and this is the way I want us to conduct ourselves, because I want to make an environment that is suitable to learning. Okay, so with that, Celeste, why don't you go ahead and read this next slide? Hold on a second and pull it up. Okay, go ahead and read this slide.
Geometry or math models is too important to be taken as a joke, but too ridiculous to be taken on 100% seriously.
Yes. Now, Marcus, what does this mean to you?
I don't know. Just don't be a nerd, I guess. Don't be a clown.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, you're right. Like you don't want to, there's nothing wrong with what you're talking about, but I think you're talking about don't be too extremes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't want to be like when we do our classes or we do our virtual classes, we got to discover that we have to find a good point. And it's about really the most important thing is about learning, but you don't want to be 1-2 side where you're just joking about it all, because it's too important to be taken as a joke, but you can't take it 100% seriously. So we got to find ourselves in the middle. All right, good.
Can you give me a situation where you're not supposed to take it 100% seriously?
Why do you want to take it 100% seriously? Well,
No,
because
why not?
Oh, because we're not going to be 100% perfect. We're going to make mistakes. So when I make notes and I do everything else, I'm not going to be 100% perfect. So as a result, you don't want to be 100% serious about it too either. Does that make sense? We're human. Mm-hmm. And being human requires us to go ahead and have some flexibility with things. Now, here's the next slide. What we're going to be doing virtually every day. So this next slide is important. because this is kind of what's going to be expected of you. So with this, Marcus, why don't you read this next slide? Every day virtually.
Every day virtually, you will do a daily assignment. You
Yeah,
will
no,
watch
it's going to
video.
be, well, I'm sorry, can I stop you for a second, Marcus? Yeah. It's kind of like a little warm up, and it's done just so we could, since you're doing everything virtually, we got to have a way to kind of find out you logged in, you did things. Does it make sense? Especially they have this concept called asynchronous, that you're going to be able to do it, not necessarily in our class time, but sometime during the day. Now, Marcus, I'm sorry, Marcus, I just wanted to kind of share that because I didn't want to think about it as sometimes as the way you think about it, what a daily assignment is. Because it's a very simple questionnaire. It's like name, ID number, what you learned about today, or something like that. Does it make sense? So it's,
Yes.
it's a little different. So maybe I should reword that. All right, but Marcus, can you please continue?
Okay, so the second one is to watch a YouTube video of notes every day.
Okay, good. Yeah, continue.
The third one is to take notes and upload the notes from the video, and then do the assignment.
Oh, it's going to be on quizzes. Okay, so now you're going to discover that, so it's going to be pretty simple. You do the notes. Now, it's very important that, especially if you're learning virtually, that you're going to write your notes by hand. And this is what you're going to upload to me. And then I'll share some videos on how to go ahead and actually do that. Okay, because it's very easy to upload notes into Google Docs because we're going to have a Google Classroom. Well, not Google Docs, but a Google Classroom. And from there, you upload them to me. You're able to watch the video, make sure you take the notes. And then once you upload them to me, then that's part of your grade. And also doing the assignment on quizzes or whatever medium we use will also be part of what you get judged on too. You know, and apart from that, you'll have quizzes and everything else we'll get into. Okay, good. Now, in a normal class setting though, Maximus, why don't you go ahead, these are the things that I normally expect when we go into class. And these are the things you see actually in my classroom. Maximus, what do you see there?
Don't be loud.
Yeah,
Especially
okay, good. What else?
back, and
Yeah.
probably don't whine.
Yeah, and then what else?
The thing is the same thing with loud.
Well,
Volume.
it's a little bit, it's like voice volume, right? And now, Celeste, why would I put these things out there?
Because in the class, we will be loud sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
We will talk back to teachers.
Yes.
We will whine about the assignments
Mhm.
or not to learn, and we talk very loud.
And we will not listen.
Yes. Now, so I'll remind you about these things. Now, especially now, how is it that Marcus? Let me explain. Why don't you explain to me? How is it that I could tell you're whining, or how could I tell a student's whining? What's the biggest characteristic that you could share with me about that?
They sound annoying.
Something. What I'm looking for something specific though, like some criteria that I'm like, oh yeah, I know, other than just how they sound like.
Looking for excuse.
Now, you know what? The way you could always discover that somebody's whining is because you'll find out that they're giving you problems, but without stating any solutions. So if you hear somebody giving you a problem without stating a solution, they're whining. That's what whining is about. Now, I'm perfectly fine if you give me a problem with a solution. Okay, that's no longer qualifies as whining. But I'm asking you to think about that thing. Because when you just say problem, 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 but no solution, that's whining. So anytime you talk about a problem, bring it up, but think about a solution to also share with me. Because otherwise, when I hear you, I'm going to go ahead and ask you to come up with that. Okay, so that's one thing that's important for me. All right, good. Now, if we go into a regular class setting, this is what's going to happen. Most of the time, you're going to discover in my class, you're going to see it work like this. So, Max, what would the people do? First thing.
Check for homework or notes.
Yeah, so, and then that's normally where you pick it up at. I place it there, homework, notes, something is normally there, and where you pick up for the day. All right, so that's it. What will be the second thing?
Count notes, homework, and write down due dates.
Yes, and that'll be normally the thing you would do afterwards. Okay, once you return. And then what about Marcus? What about walking into class?
When you walk into class, you have to turn in your homework.
Yeah, and this is normally where you turn it in. This is normally where my front desk is located, so you just go ahead and turn it in there. All right, Max, why don't you go ahead and read number 4. Every day, what do you do?
So every day, you come in, Number
Yeah.
2, learn through involvements.
Yeah, involvement. Yes.
And number 3 is you leave at the bell.
Yeah, very easy, very simple. Okay. Pretty much all you do is you come in, you learn, you leave. Easy. So just do those things. And then after that, okay, now when it comes in changing seats, okay. Well, Celeste, why don't you read this?
Changing seats. 1. Request must be done on my website. Number 2. Would take effect the following day. Number 3. I may change your seat at any time.
Yeah, so very easily, I'll give you a website link. If you want to change your seat because you can't see well, you don't get along with the person next to you, you just want to change environments. There's a lot of great reasons why to change your seats. And I get you. I understand why you want to do it. And I support you if I find out that it's beneficial for you. So, but to do it, you just log in, you do a request to change. There's a lot of things that I have to do on my end to make sure I can make that accommodation. And what I mean is that I have to see if the seat's available. I have to sometimes talk to the other person to see if they're okay about moving, because if somebody can't see and they're somewhere in the back and they have to see, then it becomes imperative that I find somebody that could change seats. So sometimes there's another person that might be there that says, hey, I also need a seat. So that's the things that I need to find out and solve for the class. Okay. So that will be the process though. Okay. Now, Marcus, why don't you go ahead and read bathroom passes?
Bathroom passes.
Yes.
You have a 10-minute rule, so you can only use the restroom for 10 minutes. He will treat you as a young adult until you show signs of abuse.
Yeah.
3 pass rule?
Yeah. So basically, you don't want to be, most people take anywhere from about 3 to 7 minutes to go use the restroom and they come back. But if I find out you're asking every day, then, people that are adults, when they're young adults, they go ahead and they just, they use it as needed, which is great. That's lovely. We need to use it as needed. That's the reason why we go to the restroom in our own house when we need to. But there's other reasons why people go that don't fall into that category. So when you start going past that, that's when I have to sometimes put restrictions. But you bring that upon yourself, understanding that, hey, listen, this is going to work unless you change things up. Then we have to do something different. All right, with that, then let's go ahead and actually move into, second, let me go back. And let me share the right screen. You share. Oh, here you go. All right, there you go. Now read this one.
In this course, students will study topics of geometry and will explore and learn basic terms of geometry, parallel and perpendicular line relationships, inductive and deductive reasoning, triangle properties, areas of polygons, surface areas, and volumes of three-dimensional figures, and properties of circles. Geometry TEKS by unit of study are available on the NEISD website under TEA.
Okay, good. All right, Max, why don't you go ahead and read the grades, like basically grade categories. Start where it says daily assignments.
I don't know where this stuff is. Wait, where?
No, you don't see where it says daily assignments? Marcus,
yeah.
Can you help your brother to see where does it say daily assignments?
No, I think I'm on a different page. I'm on tutoring. Where is?
No, it says, do you see daily assignments, Marcus?
Yeah.
Okay, can you read that out?
Daily assignments. They will be 15%. It will be the student's responsibility to make up work when absent in the allotted time by district.
Okay, good. Now read the word that says quizzes and exams and projects.
Quizzes, 30%. Quizzes may or may not be announced. Students who are the day of the quiz will make it up on the day when they return.
Okay, good.
Exams. 45%. Test will be given every 2 to 3 weeks. A test review will be given prior to each test to help students prepare.
Okay.
Project, 10%. There will be at least one major geometry project based on a current unit of study per quarter.
Okay, great. All right. Now, Celeste, why don't you go ahead and read where it says tutoring?
Okay. Tutoring. Mr. Sandoval's tutoring times will be 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Tuesdays, Thursdays, 3:30 to 4:15 p.m. Mondays and Wednesdays. There will be no tutoring on Monday, Wednesday mornings, or do faculty math department meetings that are scheduled on that day.
Okay, good. All right. And Maximus, why don't you go ahead and where it says legwork?
Assignments are considered late if they're not turned in when collected during the class period. All late work will be accepted until the unit test covering that material. No late work will be taken after the test. A 20% deduction will be assigned for all late work. For example, a grade of 100 will be recorded as in 80.
Okay, good. All right, Marcus, go ahead and read where it says retest policy.
Retest policy. Any student may choose to retake a unit test that they have failed at any point before the next unit test is given. All retests need to be completed in tutoring during normal tutoring hours. When recording the retest grade, the highest grade of the test will be recorded for a maximum grade of 70. The student must do a tutoring session with me to go over all mistakes made on the failed test and in order to be eligible to take the retest.
All right, good. Okay. And then Celeste, why don't you read the honesty policy?
Honesty policy. All assignments, quizzes, tests, and projects, unless otherwise instructed by the instructor, are to be completed individually. Any students caught copying, cheating will receive 0 for the assignment, quiz, test, or project and refer to administration for further consequences.
Okay, great. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and just end here, and then I'll go ahead and continue because we'll still be talking and everything. And then we'll go ahead and just continue for an awesome year. All right, thank you, everybody. Say bye.
Bye.
Bye. Oh my goodness.